Hello everybody, I am Ben from Team Panic, and if you've been around in the BattleBots fandom and online in any way in the past kind of year and a half, you will have seen some stuff by Hot Cohen, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. They're an artist who has been producing a whole bunch of BattleBots related stuff recently, and they kind of started out with some like anthropomorphized BattleBots, and then moved on to doing more concept art stuff, as well as some more anthropomorphized BattleBots. And the concept art stuff has been really, really interesting. There's been a bunch of people who have been inspired by it already and have started taking on the ideas and turning them into actual combat robots. And I love this, and I wanted to do something similar, but there's one of them that caught my attention more than others, and that is this soccer robot thwackbot concept, which I really like the idea of, and also it fills a bit of a need that I have coming up, because we are rapidly approaching Robot Havoc again for the year, and every year at Robot Havoc so far we have been running lone robots in the arenas, giving the audience that come and watch fights the chance to do some fighting themselves. And in the past we've been doing that with knife robots and balloon popping robots. This year, I'm thinking that maybe we try this out with some soccer robots. So, having seen this concept, I made a very quick and dirty attempt at getting this to work by taking the old chassis that I had from an old Willet bot where I turned a Halloween prop into a dustpan robot and slapping a paddle on the front of it. This is what happened. So this thing I actually think looks pretty good. We've got larger wheels than I would normally put on an Antweight, but we are running on N20 gear motors, and of course we have the big paddle out the front. This is literally just a 3D print where the paddle was printed, and then I also printed a nice little right angle, and it's just bolted in with some M4 bolts. Now, I threw this together off camera because it was always supposed to be just a very, very quick test, and before I turned the camera on, I dropped it on the floor and broke the paddle. So yeah, this was never going to be the correct solution to this, but it's a good proof of concept, I think, and I'm using it currently as a test chassis for a prototype ESC, but I'll get onto that at some point in the future. For now, we need to get on and move further with this design. So one of the things I want to do is to improve this and take this a step further is design this so that it can be laser cut rather than 3D printed, because this red section of the chassis probably took like 2.5 hours to print, whereas if I can design this thing so it can be laser cut, it can be laser cut in like 5 minutes, glued together in another, 10 or so minutes, and then it will need to be left to dry, but it will be a lot quicker and a lot easier to turn these things around really quickly, and also we won't have layer line issues. The other thing I want to do, of course, is to make this connection between the paddle and the chassis a lot more solid, because at the moment, a 3D printed right angle just ain't cutting it. Alright, so there we go. This is a whole lot of parts, and this is everything outside of the paddle that is needed to build one of these things. And obviously I've got all of this in the component pieces that I was mentioning. We've got like a back wall in here, and the front wall is interesting because the front wall isn't actually a full wall. What we've got is pieces that sit like this and like this. Whoops, that's the wrong way around. Actually no, I do want that one, although I haven't sanded these pieces, so this might not fit together. But what we have is we have pieces that sit, so we have pieces that sit in there, and then the front wall pieces slot into these as well with the little tabs in here. And then we also have a locking piece, which is a little jigsaw, and that goes in the back here so that the paddle slots in that gap in there and gets locked in with those little jigsaw puzzle pieces, and then a single bolt through the front. So it's just one bolt to take the paddle in and out, but you can see with all of this stuff set up that it's actually fairly quick and easy to get this thing built, and it would be a lot easier once I laser cut this, because yeah, at the moment I've got some elephant's footing that I need to sand off all of these parts, so it's not quite going together as well as it should. But to combat that problem, because I knew it was going to be a problem, I also printed a full chassis in our nice prototyping pink, so you can get an idea of what this thing actually will look like when it's all thrown together. So obviously these front walls are supposed to connect in and join up to these pieces that hold the front paddle in. And then the only other real interesting thing about this is that the N20 motors lie along the back wall. This is not something I've done before. Normally, all of my motor mounts motor mount into the base of the robot. In this particular instance, they're going to mount sideways onto the wall. And this is basically to allow some flexibility in here. It allows you to run DF robot motors in here, or just an N20 with a brushed ESC of any form that you want in here. So yeah, all of these bits that are in here are in our little pile of parts, but it was just easier to have one big print ready to go. Now with that done, what we need next is a paddle. Okay, so first test piece is all together. I haven't bothered with the top plate yet. We're literally just running some duct tape. I've left some holes in the bottom to put standoffs in the front that will hold an eventual back plate in. But for now, I don't want to bother with any of that. I want to just see if this thing works. I also have realized that this is probably going to be a little bit quick because the N20 motors that I have in here are 30-to-1s and 30-to-1s on a fairly massive wheel now. So this is probably going to be a little bit insane, but that's good because I want it to thwack. That's part of the whole point of this, is that it should be a thwack bot. So first of all, let's see if we can thwack. Oh yeah, we can thwack super easy with this. Oh, and it's on the floor. Well, this is a good thing. We'll see if the actual paddle has survived its fall. Yes. Sweet. So this new paddle system does indeed survive a little bit of punishment. Well, at least some punishment. And the robot has survived well enough. Cool, cool, cool. Let's see. Alright, that's interesting. Alright, so let's see if I can actually get this towards the camera. This is going to be a good test because my driving skills aren't brilliant. So, that's that way, that's that way. Okay. You know, I think this... The idea's got some merit. I like it. I like it a lot. This thing is actually pretty cool. The paddle seems to work, the wheel system seems to work. On the whole, pretty happy with that. So this is actually going to get interesting because I thought that I was kind of done with this project at this point. I was tidying up the design for the laser cutter, getting everything ready, and I was going to go up and get some pieces laser cut. And then these guys came in. These are like super, super cheap plastic geared motors from China. You can get these now in a metal geared version as well, but they are ridiculously cheap. They're like a fourth of the cost of really cheap N20 motors, and they're a little bit more powerful, but they're potentially slower as well. They also come with a wheel for some cost, but not a huge amount, and that wheel is actually basically, it's just a little bit bigger than the wheels that we were going to run for Paddlebot over here. So what I'm wondering is whether or not these wheels and motor combos would be useful enough or usable enough for the ThwackBot soccer robot. Because if they are, I can simplify this design a lot, make it a whole lot less of a jigsaw puzzle, get rid of a whole lot of the complicated motor mounting that is inside here, and just have a two-wheel drive system. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is that these motors are fairly slow. The gearing inside here is fairly harsh. So I want to do a very quick test of these, build up a very, very simple chassis, see if we can actually get this type of thing to thwack and work as well as this, and if it's even halfway decent, I think we'll move over to these Okay, so all built up. There was a few little issues I had to solve. One was these motors have a little plastic clip on them, which means you can't actually fit them right to the sides as little standoff pieces. And also the holes I had in the front weren't big enough, so I had to drill them out further. But other than that, this thing is looking pretty good. So I've got it set up on a second controller. So technically I could actually run both of the Soccerbots at the same time, but I only have one person here. So we're going to do this without and yeah, get this to work. This thing is currently running on, whoa, well, it's decently fast, at least on the turn. Hey, and it can thwack, there you go. Look at that, I was kind of worried about that. So I'm going to set this controller back again because this is freaking me out a little bit. Whoop. Nice, okay. So yeah, why this controller is freaking me out right now is because this is forwards and backwards, but not left and right. This is left and right. Because I thought it might be easier to control this thing where one of the main things you want to do is hit something with the paddle, which, damn, these motors are doing better than I thought. This is also running Betaweight electronics at the moment. The actual ESCs that are in here are Betaweight ESCs, mostly because I don't really do a lot of stuff with ant weights that aren't in the DF Robot stuff. So all of my EFCs are mostly DF Robot, which probably won't run these big things. So here we go. Yeah, okay. So that does indeed work. Let's again try the old driving test. Okay, so that's that stick towards camera, cool. Oh, this is nicer actually. It's a little bit slower, but not that much, and it does thwack, which was the thing I was worried about. Man, I think, yeah, a set of these could work really nicely. They're a little bit wider and a little bit heavier than what I was originally envisaging when I started doing this stuff. Like, this is kind of what I was envisaging, and you can see they're a touch wider. The wheels for the old ones sit inside the wheelbase for the new one. But I think these actually have more merit because they're going to be cheaper and easier to build. They have a lot less components that need to be laser cut. I don't know. I kind of like both of them. I might have to get you guys to let me know what you think down in the comments below because, yeah, I like the pair. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. Check out Hot Cohen. The links, as mentioned at the start, will be in the description to this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.